Good morning, welcome to TERRA at Home. I'm here with Colleen Zimmerman this morning from TERRA, and we're getting ready for Christmas. And the fresh greens are in, and it's time to start decorating.
It's smelling like Christmas for sure.
It is, and I was just commenting on how nice and fresh and in such great shape these are. Roughly how long will something like this last once you get it, because they are cut greens?
I have actually thrown them out at Easter.
Yeah, but you're special, so.
Well, usually,
but it's amazing how long they do last.
Oh yeah, they do last very, very long, especially once they freeze. They're perfect because they'll just last. If we do have some warm times, sometimes November, December can be a little bit warm, so just maintain them and water them, and then once they're frozen, they're good, and they'll stay green right through until spring.
Well, that's the best part, is that sometimes as soon as people clean up their Halloween stuff, they are like ready to go, right? And so they want to get these out.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of one of them. So they are out for a couple of months, so you really, you know, you do have to take care of them.
Yeah, same thing with mine at home. You know, once your mums are kind of done, you want to freshen up and
exactly.
kind of bright and cheery.
It is, and it's fun to talk about the holiday season as early as we can, right? Okay, so we're going to take something like this, and you're going to add some pizzazz to it today, and give some people ideas on how you can add, again, decoration within your home as well.
For sure. At TERRA, we have a ton that are pre-made, so you can come and choose various selections. We have a bunch of new collections this year. The ones on the table here in front of us are our Yuletide collection, so it's kind of got the magnolias and the reds, a little bit of the natural with the berries in there, and then we also have a gold collection that is called bubbly, so it's all like your golds and silvers and platinums and bronzes and things like that. So it's a little bit more traditional with the balls and things like that. And then we also have some greens in there. Like it's very trendy, trendy colors, but in a traditional way.
That's the thing, it's amazing, you know, some people will stick very much with the Christmas colors that we're also familiar with, the reds and the whites and the greens, right? But you know, it's very much about jewel tones. I mean, and they're still happening again this year, where you'll see blues and purples and and why not, right? So it's people's own version of how they want to decorate for Christmas, because you can still get that feel, especially when you're getting into blues and silvers. It's just kind of icy and cool, and it goes fine. So pink, I mean, you can totally go with pink at Christmas.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And so what I'm going to try and show you is how you can kind of combine. I'm going to go off the base of the ones that we have in front of us, but kind of bling it up a bit, so make it a little bit more festive.
Okay.
So rather than using natural twigs, I've got these nice sparkly branches. They're an artificial branch, but they're perfectly fine for going outside. So this gives us our height and kind of pulls the sparkle up, and especially in the light outside.
I was just going to say, when you're getting the lights, and you're getting porch light and twinkling lights, and you get maybe a little bit of snow in there, eventually, if sometimes we get snow before Christmas now, it doesn't seem to happen that much anymore. I think it snowed the day after Christmas last year.
I think so too.
So I was like, oh, just a little too late there, Mother Nature. But it does add, really, it's all that time of year for this type of stuff. Oh, for sure.
Like, this is a time where even if you're a more conservative person, like, go crazy and have some fun with the colors and the brightness.
Yeah.
Same thing, we have natural magnolia at the stores, but this is an artificial magnolia that's got gold on it, so it lasts, and you can use it year after year as well.
That's the best part, I find, you know, even if you are purchasing one that's all done, because that's the best. That's really, really nice. If you don't build your own, some people love to build them right from scratch, which of course you can buy just the fresh cut greens and do that here. But if you lovely people doing them for us, you can take out those bits and pieces and add them in next year, even if you do buy another like fully, you know, put together.
We've had a lot of people bring their bling back and then ask us to do custom designs for them.
Perfect.
Ooh, look at that. To bring the red in, we have the ornament balls are still big.
That's a big one.
So then that becomes your focal point. So when you're choosing the things that you want to put into, you want to choose different sizes, different textures, different shapes. So this is obviously your focal point. And then the magnolia gives you a different texture in there. So it gives you like a bigger oomph of color.
So you don't have to go symmetrical with everything.
No, definitely not.
You don't need to have that perfect balance.
And then something else that to go with these magnolias, this is a magnolia spray similar to this other one here, and then this is what's going to kind of pull up some of the color, and because it's artificial, it can stay outside as well.
Yes, that's great. Everyone's like, wow, you're growing flowers and it's -10.
They're not geraniums though, so it's okay.
Exactly.
Like a little more festive than that.
That's a little awkward. It's not like some crazy plastic daisy in the middle of the winter.
Exactly.
I know some people like that. I'm not going to say anything.
And although you can go fresh berries as well, we have a great selection of outdoor berries that last, and they maintain their color, and then this will just give you a little bit of
then you're not worrying about that. Oh, that's neat.
And I am making this backwards too, so.
I was going to say, you're normally not trying to, you're working around the front like this for television right now, so you're just hoping this all comes together from our viewers' perspective. They're all
It
like,
looks great, right?
I'm sure it does, actually.
So then there is some balance to it, so that you have like the 3 sprays. You always try to use odd numbers, so 3, 5 or more, or singles. Like I use just the one of the magnolia and the one of the large ball too.
Right, right. Okay, and I love that. And again, so we're talking about this being more traditional colors, but that's what you're going to see as you're coming into the stores now, where there are just so many offerings. So from the tiniest little ones to some palatial ones. So again, talking about custom orders, people can come in, even if they do have, again, some of the ornamental side of things with them, or you can purchase here as well. But okay, this is even like, show a picture of the front of your house. This is what I have. Give me an idea.
Definitely.
Right?
Our designers here will help you choose the colors for you. We can work with whatever kind of style you like, your price points. We can customize it and make one specifically for you, so you will have one that nobody else has.
Yes, and
that's
always
very
nice,
unique.
right? Yes.
We can also help you, if you choose like a smaller one, we can also help you choose some extra bling to put in to make it your own.
Yes, exactly. And also when it comes to containers, you can bring in your existing containers, right?
Yes.
And build from there, because some people are building like super giant ones at the end of their driveway, or by their front door. So it's...
And what we also do, like all of our liners or our arrangements are all done in black plastic pots, which are great on their own, but they also come in 10, 12, and 15-inch sizes. So you can just drop them into your existing container as well, so that it's not as heavy to
so that you
take
don't have
the whole
to do
container.
that. Yes, and I find that's what I end up doing. And it's amazing how the having your own container at home, and then just, you're taking it home as it is right now, putting it in there, it changes everything.
For sure.
The pot really does add to the whole...
Yeah, and it raises it up, so you can even do what we've chosen to do with our collections too. We have 3 different styles, so each one is kind of graduated. So we have like some smaller ones, right up to some larger size ones. So you can actually, like you do container collections in the summertime, you can do the same thing with your outdoor arrangements. So you can have a small one on the lower level, and then in your taller urn or in your contemporary planter, you can put a larger one and have a collection on your front porch as well. Rather than just having one on either side of the door, you can have a nice collection of 3 different.
That idea. That's actually nice. And also, I know you guys are very much about carrying kind of that theme from outside through your front door inside, and that's the great part about TERRA is everything can be carried inside.
For sure.
So you're kind of continuing that festive side of things.
Yeah, a lot of these things you can, if you have red balls on your Christmas tree inside, or if you have pink balls on your Christmas tree inside, you can carry that outside too, so that as soon as you come to the front door, that's what they're going to see when they get inside too.
Well, this is kind of where a lot of times people start, is with the outdoor urn, get that done and going, and then they start to build on the inside. So you can get this out as early as right now, and
pretty much.
And then start and then go from there. So Colleen, thank you for all the awesome information today. And hey, holiday season is upon us officially. We'll be back with more TERRA at Home.
TERRA, where color lives.
You've sat under them and built forts in them. You've swung from them and fell out of them. You've even fallen in love under them. Trees have always held a special place in our hearts and memories. A natural beauty, trees will grow with you and your family and bring color and nature into your world. For your assurance of quality, look for trees and shrubs with the Medallion plant tag. Medallion plants, locally grown, the pride of Niagara.
Good morning, welcome back to TERRA at Home. I'm here with former police officer Terry Hill, and we really want to talk about this great museum that we're so lucky to have in the city of Hamilton, because it really documents the history of the city of Hamilton, and it's actually located in Ancaster, right?
Correct. It's right at the corner of Church and Wilson Street in Ancaster, next to the old town hall. It's a big white building set back in called the Tisdale House.
Very nice.
Opened up in April.
Wow, and so this is basically documenting our history in a lot of what we look back, what our police services and the involvement and what they had in our community.
Well, there's some stuff that deals with Hamilton proper, but most of it deals with Hamilton Police.
Yeah.
Hamilton Police Service. Yes.
And so some really interesting artifacts that we can talk a little bit about that, you know, I think I'd love to start with this one right away because this is amazing to me that this is a dog collar.
It is.
Yes, from?
That is from what we believe is the first canine that ever worked with the Hamilton Police Department. His name was Bob. Yes. We have an excerpt that was retrieved from the notebook of the dog's handler, and we know it was the dog's handler because the dog's handler's name is on the collar, Peter Ferris.
Now, is that still the case? Do we still have the police handlers' names on dog collars?
I don't believe so.
No. So
No, I
that's
don't believe
interesting,
so.
right? Because that really does help create a connection.
Yes.
And we have a picture of him, so we're able to. I mean, that's a real connection for people.
Peter Ferris was badge number 1 in 1885. We come to the museum and we have a collage of pictures that were put together by then Chief Alexander Stewart in September 1880.
He may be related. We don't know.
Yeah. Could be some lineage there.
Could be.
But anyhow, this collar is from 1894.
Wow.
And badge
So
number
cool.
62 was Bob. We believe it's Bob.
I
So
love it.
the excerpt would put Bob at about 16 years old at the time that this collar was put on him.
But I think that's just amazing to hold a piece of history like that. You know, this is what, again, we're being exposed to here. Tell me what else people would find was there when they come to the museum and you know, some of the background. And again, the history. I think the history in police services as well specifically is really interesting for people.
Well, we have we pulled out some of the old communication equipment that they used to use from years gone by, back when transistors weren't around. There were
Right.
tubes.
Oh, wow.
And a radio weighed about 15 pounds. We have the story of Evelyn Dick. We have the history of Louis Riel, who was actually arrested by your namesake in 1885. And Louis Riel obviously was eventually tried for treason and hung for fighting against the Canadian government during a rebellion of the Northwest.
From the Northwest, right? So again, I mean, this is the stuff that I think it's great education for you know, students as well. You know, schools to come in and to learn more about their direct community. I think people love to know something that's so specific to us and to tie it into Canadian history as well. And you know, I think why don't we talk a little bit about the Evelyn Dick case, because that was. I mean, that still is one of the most, you know, renowned cases of its time specifically, right? She was quite the lady.
Well, some people wouldn't call her a lady, but anyhow.
That's right. I guess not. Good point.
The notorious Mrs. Dick. Well, Evelyn Dick was born in October of 1920 in Beamsville. To Donald and Alexandra McLean. Eventually, they moved to Roslyn Avenue in Hamilton, where Donald took on a job with the HSR as a conductor. He eventually worked his way through the HSR to be in charge of collecting the coins from the buses. At that time, they were nickel rides on the buses. And young Evelyn, who didn't play much with the children in her neighborhood because she was too frail, according to mother, always walked around with a bunch of nickels in her pocket. She had fancy clothes and lots of jewelry. And this middle-class family that's living way above their means. So there was some indication that maybe Donald was pilfering from the HSR finances. In her younger years, Evelyn married John Dick. Well, that's after she gave birth to an illegitimate child. At least it was proven later on that it was illegitimate. She told everybody that she had married a fellow by the name of White, who went overseas. And along came Heather, who was mentally challenged. So it was a pretty big strain on the family, Alexandra and Evelyn in particular, to look after Heather. Shortly after Heather was born, about a year, another child came along, stillborn. A year after that, another child came along, Peter. And he was named Peter White. Well, shortly after that, Alexandra and Donald split. and took up an apartment in downtown Hamilton. Evelyn came home one evening and said, "Mom, I'm getting married. I'm marrying John Dick." And Alexandra had no idea who John Dick was, but Evelyn said, "She's getting married. She's getting married."
You're married.
Lo and behold, the marriage was not quite as comfortable as everybody thought it should be.
And so the story starts to unravel.
Yes, and John and Evelyn separated. Actually, John and Evelyn, after they got married, didn't live together for about a month. They eventually bought a house down on Carrick Avenue, and the mortgage was in Evelyn's name. Everything was in Evelyn's name. Sometime in March of 1946, some children were playing out the edge of the escarpment in Hamilton, the East End, and they saw what they thought was a carcass of a pig that had been thrown over the edge of the escarpment. When they got down poking around at it, they found out that it was actually the torso of a human being. The head was gone, the arms, the legs
Poor
had
kids.
been mutilated.
found that.
The body was totally mutilated.
Yes, yes.
Well, of course, the police get involved and the investigation starts. John Dick had been living with a cousin, I can't think of his name right now, who had filed a report with the police at the beginning of March that John had gone missing, which was totally unusual for John's habits. They eventually were able to identify John through the cousin, and the investigation proceeded towards Evelyn and her family.
So, long story short, because we don't have time to tell the whole story, which I wish we did, you have basically documented the entire story, and you have all that at the museum, so people can go and learn more about that. Of course, there have been movies, there have been books, but the story was Evelyn did murder John and her little baby as well.
Yes. During the investigation, they find a suitcase, and in the suitcase is a baby, a child, encased in cement.
Wow.
That was Peter.
And that was a big story, and that was a big story for Hamilton Police Services, and that was something that, you know...
She was eventually going to be hung for the crime of murder, but in an appeal, she was found not guilty. She was acquitted, but she was sentenced to life for the murder of Peter.
There you go. Well, so many stories. Thank you so much. I know.
Come
I
and
could
see
sit
us.
here for hours. That's the thing. Come and see them, and you'll learn a lot more about Hamilton Police Services as well. Thank you. More Terra at Home after this.
AM 900 CHML is giving you more news when you want it most. Non-stop news weekday mornings 5 till 9, weekday afternoons 3 to 6, with weather and traffic on the 9s. Hear about it first from AM 900 CHML, Hamilton's news talk leader.
Good morning. Welcome back to Terra at Home in our Terra kitchen with Chef Iain, and we're continuing, I guess, through the month of November. We were making all these wonderful kind of earthy sort of comfort food dishes. So what are we making today?
Well, it was a big hit at Terra's Purple Pepper Awards just a month or so ago. It is a wonderful garlic and parsnip soup. Another great thing is we're going to be using the stock from an episode ago is the base of this soup.
Yes. So that was great because we did the chicken, then we took the bones, and we made the stock, and now we're using the stock in a recipe. So we're actually showing, if you're watching every week,
as everyone should be.
This is why we're making you watch every week. Hold you in suspense of what we're going to do with this. Okay, so you have our lovely stock that we made. Now parsnips, some people have either never had them, they're not sure if they like them, so
They
I'm
look
not
like
sure
a
if
carrot. They're
they do.
white.
Is it a carrot? What is it? It's obviously like
Best thing that I can say
family
about it is it's just to be able to cook it down. It is some of the sweetest flavors, much like the carrot family. Lots of lovely sugars that come out. You roast them.
Yep.
It makes for a wonderful side dish. And like I said, in this case, we're making a great soup.
So I know I wouldn't even really have thought to take parsnips and make a soup out of it, but I've had them in a soup before, so why not? They're great in a stew as well, right? So
Exactly.
okay.
I'm going to bring my heat up to about medium,
Okay.
where I'm going to melt 2 tablespoons of butter and a little splash of olive oil for flavor.
Okay, so that's a lot of times people either use one or the other. How come you use both?
The burn factor. If I'm incorporating a little bit of olive oil, it really does prevent the butter from burning. And again, I also have the flavor base. I'm building on the flavors. You got this nutty flavor of olive oil in with your butter.
Who knew?
So I'm
glad I
gonna
asked.
just melt that down.
Okay.
And to which I'm going to add 1 large onion, finely diced.
So this is a soup that we're actually going to puree later on. So obviously just having everything as small as possible just makes that a little easier, and it'll soften up easier too, right? And
Well
faster?
said. Absolutely.
Okay.
You've got a great opportunity. It's a smaller dice. It's easily to incorporate. It's going to break down a lot faster. And your cooking time is cut in half.
Okay.
Most definitely. So we've just started to soften it. If you soften the onions, you're probably looking at about 8 minutes till they become translucent. You really want to keep your eye on it. You really don't want to brown your onions at all. So we want it
Okay.
just a nice, soft, translucent color. And to which I'm also going to add some of our leeks, favorite of
Again,
mine.
Make sure you get all the sand out.
Yeah,
The dirt.
great point.
The dirt out of
When you're cutting your leeks, make sure you cut them lengthwise under running water. That's a really good point. Going through leaf by leaf, making sure that there's no sand deposits left whatsoever.
Well, you go through the
Nothing
process
sort
of using leeks in something, and you've made the whole dish, and then you have that gritty.
Well,
You
that
see
gritty,
everybody
and
at your
then,
dinner party
yeah,
going,
It's over. It's
like,
over.
oh no, I didn't wash them very well. So there we go. And it's amazing how that will just stick in there. That
Yep.
doesn't go
You
away.
really do need to pay attention
Yes.
to washing your vegetables properly.
Okay.
Like I said, we've just softened things up. We're going to add to which our parsnips.
Okay.
We talked
So
before.
basically, you're just peeling them out like a carrot.
Peel them
right?
up
and
like a
chop.
carrot, finer chop, and we're going to use 1 whole head of garlic roasted.
I was just going to say, what did you do to that? So you roasted those.
You've
Oh, look
got
at-
one of a couple of ways to do it. I've seen chefs, they take the whole garlic clove head and they cut it just off the top.
Right.
They put it into a tinfoil envelope with a little drizzle of olive oil, a little bit of salt. You wrap it into an envelope and it goes into the oven for about a half hour. What I did, if I was pressed for time, I have some peeled garlic, I have a fry pan. I'm going to use maybe a canola oil or a vegetable oil, something that has a lower smoke point so it's
Okay.
not going to burn. And essentially on a low heat, I'm just going to almost confit the garlic. I'm going to cook
Right.
it in the oil. And a
Okay.
wonderful byproduct of that is I have a wonderful garlic infused oil as well.
Oh,
So
yes,
you
keep
can
that for later.
incorporate
That's
that
some good
into
for
your
use
soup as
further.
well.
Okay.
Most definitely. Some
Okay.
wonderful smells that are coming. I do, sorry to reach across from you. I'm just going to add just a light, healthy pinch of salt. Seasoned now.
You can take these from me when you're ready.
I'm going to take this from you.
Garlic.
Thank you.
Okay, so the roasted garlic is going to add a whole lot more flavor than if you were to just sort of saute that in with the onions at the beginning. It adds a
little
different
bit
flavor.
more raw. Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. You're going to have a much smoother, a much softer and sweeter flavor base. And from our chicken stock that we made from the previous episode,
Yay.
we're going to add a full liter.
Okay. So now again, you're dealing with what we mentioned in a past episode when we were making the stock is you now know what came in your stock. You know what you made that stock, so you know there aren't preservatives or excess salt or anything that you add what you want to add to it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's just a wonderful foundation to have. And like we talked about at the last episode, you can always pull from it, whether it's gravy, sauces, or soups. In this case, we're making a wonderful, sweet, wonderful soup. That goes nicely with some sage butter as well.
Okay, so when we were making this, you were saying if you season it properly while you're making the stock, then you don't have to do it as much later on.
Less likely
So
later
obviously
on.
this is to your taste and your liking. But will you still add some salt to this soup? Because generally soups need salt to.
I
do
usually
you
add
find your-
beforehand. It really depends on the person tasting the soup.
Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah,
I
to
tend
keep
to,
it not too. Soups can get so salty, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I bring it up to a medium. I don't want to boil. I just want to keep it nice and low and keep it cooked out. It probably takes a good solid 15 minutes just till the parsnips become soft. Might be an idea to cover. And when the time comes, what we're going to do is we're going to take an immersion blender and we're going to pulse it until it becomes smooth. And we can pass it through a china cap just so you get that satiny, velvety
Right, so you're getting
sort
any
of
little-
texture.
Okay.
Absolutely. And it's beautiful. And really, it's not a lot of ingredients. We're not pulling
it's
from a
not
lot.
at all.
And yeah.
Okay,
it
and
really
one
works so
thing
well.
as well that's what's so great about having an immersion blender now is that you don't have to take this hot soup and trying to transfer. We know there's been lots of accidents.
We've had
With
accidents,
people trying
yes.
to transfer hot soup into a blender and
Into a
back and forth
blender.
and having to do it in batches. It makes it so much easier when you can just go. Doo, doo, doo. I think it's one of the best things that I bought in my kitchen because
It's
saves
a
you
great
and
tool.
it saves you a lot more dishes in the end too, right? You don't have to clean a blender.
Exactly.
Right?
For sure.
Okay, so what we'll
for
do
sure.
is we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll do this quick blending, and again we'll strain out any little bits and pieces that we need to do so.
Present
and
a
boom,
lovely
we have
soup.
our lovely soup, perfect for November. Okay, we'll be right back.
Thanks.
Terra, where color lives.
Heritage Perennials. Look for us in the blue pots.
Welcome back to Terra at Home. We're finishing up our parsnip soup right now with Chef Iain, and so basically we've let it all soften up, all the lovely onions and parsnips, or leeks.
Leeks, onion, roasted garlic, parsnips, and a liter of our homemade chicken stock that we made the week before.
That's right. Okay.
So we're almost to the next stage now where we're going to take our soup and I'm going to pass this over to you if you wouldn't mind hitting that with the immersion blender.
So this is what we were saying, how it's so lovely to have one of these at home, right?
Yep.
And I'll not lift it up, right? So basically just get it all soft and
You're just
happen in.
pulsating it through. You're just going to make, we've already made a mess.
Of course I did. Okay.
So we have it pulsated through. What I like to always do is I like to just pass it through a sieve and ultimately just to make sure that there's no lumps
Okay,
or
ready?
bumps kind of thing. Yep.
All right, here we go.
A little bit at a time. That's perfect.
Okay.
And like I said, we just push that through.
So you don't have to do that. You're just being super chef particular right now, right?
Just want, yes, most definitely. It's a silky, satiny, smooth sort of finish that I'd like to have.
It
And
does
if
make
you-
a difference, though, actually, you're right.
It does. It really does. If you want to pass through a little more,
Sure.
and then we can plate what we have.
Okay.
That would be great.
How's that? Good?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, you can certainly omit this step. I guess you could call it rustic if you wanted to. And ultimately, we're going to finish it off with a little bit of butter sage. So just
that
a little
sounds so
drizzle
good.
of some sage that I've chopped finely into a chiffonade, small ribbons, and then I've put into a pan with some melted butter. So you
Wonderful.
sort of drizzle that over the top.
Okay.
So,
All right,
yes.
so while you're making that happen for us, just before we end the show, I just want to remind you that you can make this as well. You go onto our website at terragreenhouses.com, and just a perfect soup, very straightforward and easy to make, and use those parsnips.
Most
there
definitely.
you go. Go
There
for
we
it.
go.
Of course, my dad would want the entire container of this,
There
but
we go.
and do it, because that always just makes it that much better.
There you go.
Lovely, and we'll show that. Very good. Have yourself a great weekend.